With the first pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Andrew Luck, quarterback, Stanford.
And there he goes. He's got to hang up with his boss and hug his mom. A neat moment for a young man of a former quarterback of the National Football League, a former quarterback teammate of Peyton Manning's dad, Archie. He is now getting the pin. His mom is pinning him with the blue horseshoe, and the handshakes are all around.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Jorge, aka the Latino Nerd. We've got a great episode of Off the Bench for you today. Thank you for clicking the link to this podcast. Quick shout out to Max Civils and King Hez for the intro song, Wake Up. Link is in the description if you wish to download it for my YouTube viewers. Everyone else, if you're listening on Spotify, Soundcloud, or however else you're listening to this podcast, you just search them up in the search bar and they'll be right there for you. We've got a great episode for you guys today. We're talking Andrew Luck. We're talking MLB Wild Card, see where all the baseball teams are lining up. And we'll talk some All Elite Wrestling with their last show before TV begins, All Out, coming Sunday the 31st.
Wake up, it's time to get ready. Go out, it's time to get ready. Wake up, it's time to get ready. Time to get ready. Time to get ready. Whoa. Wake up, it's time to get ready. Go out, it's time to get ready. Wake up, it's time to get ready. Time to get ready. Time to get ready. Whoa.
So we begin with the news of Andrew Luck. He retired abruptly over the weekend during Week 3 of the NFL preseason. Adam Schefter of ESPN tweeted out that he will retire in the middle of the Colts-Bears preseason game. And I'd like to start by addressing the Colts fan base. Colts Nation, this man has given you everything and more that most fan bases, such as mine, my own, of the New York Jets, we envy you Colts fans. We envy the fact that you had first ballot Hall of Famer Peyton Manning win you a Super Bowl and last as long as he did. We envy that you were able to get the number 1 overall pick and get the highest rated quarterback out of college, Andrew Luck from the University of Stanford. We envy that you were able to have 2 above average, almost elite quarterbacks. Of course, Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, elite. Peyton Manning, elite. We envy that. And for you to boo Andrew Luck as he walks off the field into the locker room, why? What is the reasoning? Could you imagine any other fan base doing this? Colts fans, you have been gifted 2 elite, and yes, I'm going to say Andrew Luck is elite because he did miraculous things for your team. Went from 2-14 to 10-6 in a playoff record? Come on, man. And the highest, I believe it was the highest deficit to come back from against the Kansas City Chiefs and Alex Smith, who were presumed at one point, Alex Smith, with the 49ers as a Super Bowl favorite, brought the Chiefs to the playoffs and almost went to the Super Bowl. I mean, come on, Colts fans. Why would you boo a guy that brought you out from the dirt, from being a laughingstock that 2-14 season? Look at them like it's Peyton Manning or bust. They didn't invest in the backup quarterback. Our offensive line is trash. You were a laughingstock in 2011, 2012. You get Andrew Luck. You stay relevant. You are considered nearly Super Bowl contenders as long as Andrew Luck is healthy. You finally invest in the offensive line to keep Andrew Luck upright. And now he retires because the toll of all these injuries that he had to endure from your previous management failing to address the offensive line, the same offensive line issues that struck Peyton Manning with his injuries as well. The same offensive line that couldn't block for any running back you decided to bring into that team, into that organization. The same offensive line that had been ignored for years. And you're going to boo Andrew Luck for retiring? Come on, Colts fans. You're better than that. You were gifted better than that. You had more than that. And now you not only did you have Andrew Luck, you had a competent backup in Jacoby Brissett, who comes from the New England Patriots system, mind you, just like Jimmy Garoppolo does. And look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He hasn't played a full season yet, and he has a max level contract. I mean, come on, Colts fans. Booing Andrew Luck when this year everyone had you as a dark horse Super Bowl contender? Booing Andrew Luck when you had a competent offensive line that could finally keep him upright with Quentin Nelson leading the way? You're going to boo Andrew Luck? And you know what? We got some audio from Andrew Luck's press conference that I want to play just for you Colts fans. Just listen to the emotion behind Andrew Luck in this press conference. This man loves football, and he knows all these injuries he's suffered, from the kidney to all these surgeries he's had to get done, the rehab. That's affected his personal life as well. And we're all human beings. Football, this isn't Madden, where these players are just computated to go on the field and play football, and then that's it. Oh, I drafted him in fantasy football, and now he retired, so fuck Andrew Luck, right? Well, why don't you, as a fantasy football player, do it during week 4, when all the injuries are out there, when everything is finalized, when you have the 53-man roster? Why don't you do that instead? But no, we got to share O.J. Simpson's video of him getting angry at Andrew Luck. Because, of course, O.J. Simpson's opinions matter at this point. I mean, the man just got introduced to social media. But of course, fuck Andrew Luck, because he decided his well-being far outweighs the sport of football. His well-being far outweighs your fantasy football league. So we're going to play this audio from Andrew Luck. And I just want everyone, even the Colts fans, to just listen to the emotion. Because from what I'm gathering on social media, a lot of people think he just quit. He just walked out on his team, and now he just said, you know what, screw this. I don't want to play football. No! You listen to this man. Listen to the emotion in this man's voice.
It's not an easy decision. Honestly, it's the hardest decision of my life. But it is the right decision for me. For the last 4 years or so, I've been in this cycle of injury, pain, rehab, injury, pain, rehab. And it's been unceasing and unrelenting, both in season, and off season. And I felt stuck in it, and the only way I see out is to no longer play football. It's taken my joy of this game away, and this. Sorry. I've been stuck in this process. I haven't been able to live the life I want to live. Taking the joy out of this game. And after 2016, where I played in pain and was unable to regularly practice, I made a vow to myself that I would not go down that path again. I find myself in a similar situation, and the only way forward for me is to remove myself from football in this cycle that I've been in.
Oh, obviously you can hear in his voice, especially when you could tell it started cracking once he had to explain himself. The physical toll isn't just the only thing. The mental toll of just knowing that certain parts of your body won't be the same is just draining. And the most key aspect is the game isn't fun anymore for him. You have to understand that as athletes, if the sport you are playing for a living is no longer fun, then that affects you mentally, similar to those that work in offices that just hate their lives, and they're just thinking to themselves, this job isn't fun. I regret coming in today every day. I don't want to go in. I just don't want to go there anymore. Andrew Luck felt that. He felt that way about football. Another injury, I have to go to rehab again. Oh, they're not letting me practice with the guys. I'm just standing here. Oh my God, why? It's too much, especially to something you grew up doing. You loved it at first, and to fall out of love with it, that's serious. After a year where he threw 39 touchdowns, a year where he actually played all the games in the season, all 16. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. You can't boo him. And for the YouTube viewers, just looking at his numbers against Peyton Manning in his first 5 years, just look at it, man. 132 touchdowns to 138, 68 interceptions to 100, 272 yards per game to 257, win-loss record of 46-30, even though he missed 10 games in the span of 2012 to 2016, a 3-3 postseason record. And remember, Peyton Manning had to deal with Tom Brady just as much as Andrew Luck did. And Andrew Luck, with his numbers being far better than Peyton Manning in his first few years, had the potential to take over that city as Peyton Manning, have a statue right next to Peyton. That he had the potential to win multiple Super Bowls, not just one. Not just make it to another one against New Orleans and just show up. You know, not to say that Peyton Manning didn't show up to that football game, because that was a great Super Bowl against the Saints and the right team won. But come on, guys. Peyton Manning, in his first 5 years, didn't have that great of a record, 39-38 compared to 46-30. And Peyton Manning's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And Andrew Luck in his first 5 years just supplanted him. And to go 46-30, 3-3 in the postseason, I mean, come on, guys. Come on. No reason to boo him. Andrew Luck has done so much for the Indianapolis Colts, even through suspect decisions, like I said before, not touching that offensive line until a few years ago. This young man, who is 3 years my senior, I'm 26, Andrew Luck is 29, has just retired from the NFL. And we need to give him the respect he deserves. And I doubt he's going to go into ESPN like all these other retirees go and just talk football. He's a Stanford man. He's extremely intelligent. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts working for IBM. for all I know, that man is incredibly intelligent. He doesn't need to work anymore. He still has a 20+ million from his contract with the Colts. And he'll be fine as long as he takes care of himself. Which, now that he doesn't have to play football, he can raise his son, not have to worry about playing football and getting CTE or anything like that, and having his son grow up with his son remembering him, but he can't remember his son, because there have been situations with those suffering from CTE that they're like that, get dementia very early on. So I support Andrew Luck's decision. I wish him nothing but the best. And I'm sad to see him go as a football fan. I'm sad. You hate to see one of the better quarterbacks retired this young. And remember, Tom Brady said he's going to retire when it's no longer fun for him. So imagine if the Patriots decide to ignore the offensive line and have Tom Brady get hit. Because remember, everyone who plays the Patriots in the playoffs just say, hit Tom Brady, make him nervous, and you'll win. That's how the Eagles did it. That's how the Jets did it in 2010 in the AFC Divisional. That's how the Rams almost won if Jared Goff decided to throw the ball accurately. And, nothing but the best for Andrew Luck. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. This advertisement is brought to you by Diplomacy Clothing. Diplomacy Clothing for your local urban wear. Got everything from do-rags to bikinis to hats to shirts to shorts. Diplomacy Clothing link is in the description for the YouTube viewers. Just Google Diplomacy Clothing and you will find the best urban clothes in the Westchester area. So follow them on Instagram at Diplomacy Clothing. For the YouTube viewers, link is in the description. You can see some of their products on your screen. And now I brought this segment over from a channel called Wrestle Talk. This is the Robert Roode mustache break. We'll be right back. So we transition from the Robert Roode mustache break into All Elite Wrestling's All Out match card. So as you can see right here, we have Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans. This is the buy-in pre-show. Of course, the show will start with the Women's Casino Battle Royale. I'm excited for this because I've been so sick and tired of WWE and their Women's Evolution BS. Because if you've noticed from recent WWE TV, at the time of this recording, whenever this is released, that Raw and SmackDown don't have a lot of women's wrestling. So much for the Women's Revolution, am I right? So the winner of this Women's Casino Battle Royale receives a shot at the inaugural Women's Championship of AEW. And some of the confirmed entrants are Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, Teal Piper, Big Swole, Ariel Monroe, Brandy Rhodes, of course, Yuka Sakazaki, Ivelisse, Brandy Rhodes, excuse me, Jazz, Sadie Gibbs, Nyla Rose, and Allie. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not too deep in the indie wrestling scene. As far as I go is Impact and Ring of Honor. I haven't watched much NJPW, New Japan, of course. So I'm still a little wet. I've grew up with WWE, as most of you guys have as well. And of course, for my podcast listeners, I'm looking at the match card right now, the screen grab. YouTube viewers can see the match card along with me. But I'm going to go on through with the rest of the card for the podcast listeners. I don't want to give a prediction just yet. I'm just going to go through the match card. Because again, my feet aren't that great. I don't know many of the women's competing. I'm very new and fresh to the indie wrestling. But I believe Awesome Kong should be a part of the Women's Casino Battle Royale, and she is, and she has signed with All Elite Wrestling, then I think that's going to be my pick. But I'll save that till after we go through the match card. After the Women's Casino Battle Royale, to determine the one of the competitors for the inaugural women's title, we have Riho versus Hikaru Shida. So again, just pointing it out there. Joey Janela versus Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin in a triple threat. So far from what I've seen from Jimmy Havoc and Joey Janela, I've become fans of their work. And I can't wait to see Darby Allin. I believe he fought against Cody Rhodes at Fight for the Fallen or Fighter Fest. I can't remember which, but you guys in YouTube can comment and remind me. Best Friends versus Dark Order. Winner gets a bye in the tag team championship tournament. I'm very excited about this tag team championship tournament. All Elite Wrestling has been considered a league, not a wrestling show, which I'm excited about. I think it's a brand new concept you can bring into wrestling. Cody versus Shawn Spears with Tully Blanchard. I'm excited for this match as well. This should be a tremendous match. With the whole chair shot gone wrong, it was meant to be gimmicked. It wasn't gimmicked. And I'm excited. That's just going to bring a whole story, just a little bit of realism in there as well with the chair shot and just the damage that left Cody's skull. AAA Tag Team Championship. Now, I heard from Wrestle Talk, and I'm going to reference them a lot in this video. They're one of my sources that I like to use. They mentioned that one of the Lucha Brothers was injured. I believe it was Phoenix. Obviously, they're from AAA, the Mexican wrestling, and they're bringing their championships on the line against the Young Bucks in a ladder match. Now, depending on the severity of the injury, I don't know if the ladder match will stay in or if Phoenix is gonna refuse to take some bumps or he's just gonna corpse most of the match. But I think it would be an exciting matchup. I don't think the Young Bucks are gonna win. However, I think if you're gonna have a AEW Tag Team Championship tournament, and unless All Elite Wrestling has a working relationship with AAA where their championship can come to All Elite Wrestling, I don't know. It's going to be a great match for sure, but I'm not too sure if the Young Bucks are going to win it. I think they're just going to put the Lucha Brothers over. A lot of high-flying moves, which I'm very excited about. And, yeah, I think the Lucha Brothers will retain only because you already have a tag team championship match or tournament going on. Kenny Omega versus Pac. Now, this was meant to be Jon Moxley, also known as Dean Ambrose in WWE circles. That is a match, I think, that was saved. It was meant for All Out, obviously, because of what happened at Double or Nothing. But honestly, I think this was a blessing in disguise. Kenny Omega versus Pac is going to be a great match, even though Pac was not even considered to be part of All Out. Wasn't even supposed to show up. I think this may be a one-and-done match for Pac, so you might give him a win against Kenny Omega, but I think this might do Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley justice. It'll be good for them to not compete right now. I feel like you can do more with the story now that you're entering TV. That's a rivalry that has not been settled yet. So you can definitely build that up in the TV tapings. It's still fresh in people's minds. And unless Jon Moxley is going to interfere in some way, I know he wasn't scheduled. He's not scheduled for the match. I don't know if he's going to stay home and rest. But if he does make an appearance just to support, maybe you can do an angle. I'm not sure. You can do an angle where he attacks him. I don't know, or attacks Kenny Omega. That is post match, and just continue the rivalry that way. That's something I would do. And finally, we have the AEW World Championship to crown the inaugural champion, Chris Jericho versus Adam Hangman Page. Now, I've noticed that Adam Hangman Page, according to Wrestle Talk, that is, he's been, the way they argue that he's been booked as a mid-carder, and I don't see it. I think they're just trying to give him matches to have him look good. I don't think you want him in the main event that much. I think you want to show people his capacity and how good of a wrestler he can be, and just to give him more momentum. And I think at Fight for the Fall, and they both cut promos on each other. I think Jericho attacked him during Adam Hangman Page's promo. So there's definitely a build to it. I'm definitely excited for this match. Whether you want to make the championship relevant, I guess you can make Chris Jericho a heel. He's been heelish recently, especially for Fyter Fest, where he refused to go. That's a very heelish move. I can see Chris Jericho winning the championship by cheating Adam Hangman Page, and not having a clean victory, have it clean but dirty at the same time. I don't know if that would make any sense or if I'm making any sense right now, but I feel like Jericho would win this championship. So now I'm going to get into my full-on predictions. Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans. I'm going to give that to Private Party. Private Party is AEW's Street Profits, I believe, but Street Profits, while popular, I believe Private Party is going to gain some of those same fan bases that Street Profits have gained from NXT. As far as the Women's Casino Battle Royale, I mentioned Awesome Kong. If she's in it, I'm not too sure. I don't think this list is complete because I believe the Women's Casino Battle Royale is made of 20 wrestlers. I'm not too sure. Comment section at YouTube. You can correct me on that. But I'm taking Awesome Kong to win the Women's Casino Battle Royale. I feel like they started something with at Fight for the Fallen. They started some rivalry with her involving one other wrestler who escapes my name. Riho versus Hikaru Shida. I don't know either wrestler, so I'm not too familiar with their work. If I were a betting man, I guess I go with Hikaru Shida. Again, I have no allegiance, so I go Hikaru Shida. Joey Janela versus Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin. Darby Allin was put over very well in a loss against Cody Rhodes, so I'm gonna say Darby Allin sneaks a win in this triple threat and just puts himself over with the crowd. I think they're going to have him go over. Jimmy Havoc has a lot of potential. Joey Janela, I like his hardcore aspects. But I think this one goes to Darby Allin. I think he might be pushed as a high mid-card person if they end up getting a TV tie, something like that. Best Friends versus Dark Order. The winner gets a bye in the Tag Team Championship tournament. I think Dark Order gets this one. They've been booked well. They've got this Wyatt family aspect. Not to say that they have this crazy sound that pops up, but just the big group that they have to attack different tag teams. I feel like Dark Order will be pushed hard, and I feel like them getting a bye in the Tag Team Championship tournament will be a great way to push them. Cody versus Shawn Spears. It all depends on whether Cody wants to put Shawn Spears over. I know Shawn Spears is a heel now because of his turn on Cody. They were former best friends, and now Shawn Spears hit Cody with the chair, causing like a massive cut, and it was ugly to see. But I think Shawn Spears takes this one, and Cody puts him over really well. That's the thing I like about Cody Rhodes, is that his ability to put other people over. I don't think Cody is the type to demand a lot of attention like a Hulk Hogan, where he refuses to put people over. I think Cody's going to put Shawn Spears over, if not in a loss for Shawn Spears. If Shawn Spears ends up losing to Cody, I think Shawn Spears will get put over very well. In the AAA Tag Team Championship, I think the Lucha Brothers are going to do it because I think the Young Bucks might compete in the Tag Team Championship tournament on TV tapings on the first one on October 2nd. So I think that's more beneficial. I believe the Lucha Brothers will retain, and the Young Bucks will put on a very exciting match. Kenny Omega versus Pac. Since Pac is not officially an All Elite Wrestling wrestler, he's not contracted by them. I believe Pac might go over. They might have him go over strong and have Jon Moxley interfere in some way. Just make sure he's okay with his elbow, and just keep the rivalry going, because I think the Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley rivalry is the thing that's going to bring in more viewers, especially if you have this finish with Jon Moxley interfering or costing Kenny Omega against Pac in any way. Then I believe that will bring in a ton of viewers for All Elite Wrestling Wednesdays on TNT. And of course, the AEW World Championship. I think having a veteran like Chris Jericho win really puts the title over, although Adam Hangman Page has a huge fan base. So there is precedent to have Hangman win. But I think Jericho as a heel, he's great on the mic. He can put people over. I think him winning the championship will be the result. So that's my All Elite Wrestling All Out match card predictions. Just going over it. So now we're going to get into the wild card for Major League Baseball. We're closing in on September, guys. It's going to be rough. So as you can see from today, August 26th, the day of recording, these are the wild card standings for the American League. We have the Houston Astros and the New York Yankees leading the way, tied for the first seed in MLB. Of course, the Yankees want to get that home field advantage. That'll be very important for this team. And the Astros are obviously the team in the way of another Yankees World Series appearance. The Twins remain atop the Central at 79-51. Indians not that far behind, though. They hold the top spot in the wild card, and Tampa Bay right there. And Tampa Bay is the one team, the AL East, that has not gone away. For you Yankees fans, you know what I'm talking about. They still remain in there. Oakland is a half game back from Tampa Bay for that second wild card spot. Boston remains 6 games back, and that's about it. Honestly, I don't want to keep talking about the American League because everyone past the Oakland Athletics, as far as I'm concerned, are not competing for a wild card spot. It's between the Rays, Indians, and the Athletics. I personally want the Athletics to win. I think the Yankees did them a huge favor by losing to them. I think it was mostly like a attaboy, stay in there. I don't think it was intentional that we lost to that my Yankees lost to the Oakland A's. But I don't want the Rays in there. I want the Yankees to be the only team in the AL East. I want the dominance to continue. I don't want the Rays to continue to think that they're a playoff team. Come on. So we go over to the National League. And these are the division leaders for the National League. The Cardinals hold on to their central spot, 71-58. The Dodgers, who just lost the series 2-1 to the New York Yankees, still hang on to that 1 seed at 86-46. The Braves, 80-52, are trying to take care of those pesky New York Mets. The Washington Nationals hold on to that first wild card spot, having a 4-game advantage over the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are trying to exclude the Phillies, Brewers, and the Mets from making the playoffs. As you can see, the rest of the wild card standings, the Phillies, as I mentioned before, are still in there, 1.5 games back. Brewers and the Mets are 2 games back. Now, the Mets are currently in a series, or I believe they had just finished up a series against the Braves, and they lost that series. A very important series, but now they play, I believe it says here, the Cubs. So that's going to be a very important series because both teams are going to try to maintain or try to enter the wildcard team. Now, the Mets have to jump the Brewers, Phillies, and the Cubs. So if I'm a Mets fan, I want the Mets to sweep the Cubs. It's going to be very difficult because the Cubs are a very good team. They're 69-61 right now, but the Mets are surprising a lot of people this year. If they are able to make it to the wild card, this would be a huge win for Queens and Flushing. Not far behind them are the San Francisco Giants and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, after trading Zach Greinke, I think at the trade deadline, I think the Diamondbacks are just reeling it in, and just making sure that they finish off with a respectable record because at 65-66, I don't see them winning many more games, or at least not go on a streak like the Mets have. The Mets did lose the series 3-0 to the Atlanta Braves, so that did hurt their chances. If they had won a game or two against the Braves, that might have made a difference. The Brewers are also a tough team. Christian Yelich is a front runner for MVP in my opinion. And the Phillies also have Bryce Harper and a ton of good pitching. Of course, it's anyone's ball game in the National League. The National League is the most competitive I've seen it in years. The Mets were out of it, and I constantly bring up the Mets because the Mets they're out of it. They were not even concerned about making the playoffs. They were more concerned about firing Mickey Callaway and starting anew. So now, if you're the Mets, if you somehow squeak in there, get past the Cubs, Phillies, and Brewers, then you might have a reason to keep Mickey Callaway for at least one more year. And then next year, after next offseason, most of your contracts, your huge contracts, will be gone. Robinson Cano, I think you can get out of. Who else do they have? The point is they have a lot of contracts they can get out of and try to rebuild the proper way. They can probably bring in Joe Girardi if they could, if they're not satisfied with Mickey Callaway. But all of this is prefaced by the Mets making the playoffs. So they have a chance. They have to make sure they win, and it's not like the Cubs or the Phillies have anything else to do. The Phillies obviously are playing the Pirates, so the Phillies might be able to supplant the Cubs before the Mets do, if the Mets do their job. The Brewers play the Cardinals, so that's going to be a very, very tough game. And the Cubs might just supplant the Cardinals in the division if the Mets struggle and the Brewers take care of business against the Cardinals. So every game matters at this point. And it's great to be a Mets fan if you're in Flushing or anywhere else if you're a Mets fan. Even better if you're a Cubs fan. If you're a Cardinals fan, you should be really excited, but you need to make sure you put the foot on the throat of the Brewers. Make sure and it's been very difficult for the Cardinals to take care of the Brewers, but you need to make sure that you take care of them in Milwaukee, because you do not want Christian Yelich in the playoffs hitting home runs like a madman. So the Giants are still in it, obviously, but there's not much with Posey not hitting as well, and they've got they're struggling still, even though they've won 2 in a row so far. The last 10 they've been 5-5. So I see them as a 500 team, which they are right now, but finishing the season as a slightly below or slightly above 500 team. They're going to be hovering around that area. I don't see them making a push for the playoffs, even though they're playing the Diamondbacks. I was surprised, honestly, that the Padres didn't make more of a push in the playoffs. They started off great in the spring, and you hate to see it if you're a San Diego Padres fan. The Rockies as well, they fell off after having a great year last year. So if you're a National League fan, if you're a Mets fan, if you're a Cubs fan, if you're a Phillies fan, this is good news for you guys. So just going through everything else, as far as the Yankees are concerned, because I am a Yankees fan and I do like my team. I was concerned at first that the Yankees didn't trade for any pitchers, but Domingo Germán looks really good. I don't know if I trust him in the playoffs. Obviously, it gives you more confidence that he did what he did against the Dodgers. But if I were the Yankees, I'd go Tanaka 1 as my opening starter, and then go Germán 2. Only because Tanaka brings it, and Tanaka's in a contract year. So after this season, his contract expires. So if you're Tanaka, you want to bring it your all as long as you in the playoffs. And he in the games Tanaka has played in the playoffs, he has a very good record. So we are in BaseballReference.com currently. This is the postseason pitching for Masahiro Tanaka. He's got a pretty decent ERA as long as we can continue going up. Standard, he's got in his career, he's got a 3.76 ERA, 4.68 ERA this year, 9.7. But just looking at these numbers, he has some potential to be a number one guy, but he does have an opt out, I believe, after this season. But postseason pitching, he did really well. As you can see here, he had a 0 ERA in the win against Cleveland, 138 against Houston, 180 against Boston. So that's my suggestion if I was the Yankees. He pitches well, he does well. 150 ERA, 3-2 record. But that's the best you can do. if you're the Yankees, because you want a guy with experience with a low ERA against guys like the Astros or the Indians. The Indians took care of business against the Yankees. They did the series split, I believe. And the Yankees just need some good pitching in the playoffs, because the hits will come. And in previous years, Gary Sanchez disappeared, Aaron Judge disappeared, and now you're getting healthier. We're getting into September. Giancarlo Stanton is getting healthy. A lot of players are getting healthy. We're getting a lot of players back. So by mid-September, I think right before the playoffs, we're going to have a lot of tough decisions. I hope Gio Urshela continues his crazy year. He's just been amazing for the Yankees. Didi Gregorius continues to be an amazing player for the Yankees. There was a lot of concern when he first came in after Derek Jeter. How can he fill Derek Jeter's shoes? And he's done a very good job. He is well in position to get a very lucrative deal in the offseason, and I hope Brian Cashman pays that man what he deserves. But as far as the Yankees I'm concerned, looking at these numbers and the postseason pitching for Masahiro Tanaka, I'd make sure Tanaka's the number one starter. Bring Domingo Germán, a younger pitcher, as number two. So knowing that you have the 1-0 series lead with your ace going out there, and you can call Germán the ace and have Tanaka start game one. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure that Germán gets in there confident, because while he did that against the Dodgers, you're not going to play the Dodgers in the playoffs. The best case scenario is that you play them in the World Series and you beat them 6 games, 5 games. In the postseason against teams like the Astros and the Indians, you want to have Tanaka in there first and then Germán. So that way, when you leave Yankee Stadium, you're up 1-1 or 2-0, but you're not down 0-2. So that's my opinion. Thank you guys for watching and listening off the bench. This has been a great, long overdue episode. Just want to thank everyone for watching and listening. Links to the Spotify and SoundCloud links in the description below. Links to Diplomacy and where you can find them in the description below on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We've got a lot more stuff coming in. I've got more WWE 2K gameplay footage for you guys. And I'm just going to play more King Hez music as we sign off. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Too deep for the intro, spitting on instrumentals, back and forth from love and hate. I'm amazed that I'm not meant to